was not prepared for this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden. I didn't expect it to be this emotional and this hard-hitting. I'm actually kind of glad that I did not do a reaction to this episode because it would have just been me blubbering like an idiot for about 20 minutes. This week's episode was the perfect conclusion to the battle between Naruto and Sasuke, and not only that, but we finally got to see Sasuke admit his wrongdoings, which, even when I was reading it in the manga version, it started to make me get all misty-eyed. Seeing it in the anime version, with animation, voice acting, and emotional music, just rocked me to my core. This episode right here stands as one of the best episodes of the Naruto series, and despite the fact that it's dominated by flashbacks, you should not discount this episode of Naruto Shippuden. It is the perfect conclusion to the story of Naruto and Sasuke, and hilariously enough, the series is not done. There is still going to be more material even after this episode, hell, even after they adapt the final manga chapter of the series. So fans who want more Naruto, guess what? You're definitely going to get it. But this week's episode right here was just great. It immediately opened up with both Naruto and Sasuke finishing up their battle from last week's episode, and as they clashed with each other, they're suddenly stuck in this sort of introspective limbo, where they're seeing all of the various events of the series, all of the paths that they went down, and it allows them to sort of reflect on these events and see where they are now. Most importantly, however, we get to see Sasuke admit everything that he has done in the series is wrong. He's always looked up to Naruto, he's always acknowledged his strength, and he's always wanted to have the same power that he has had. He just knew if he tried to attain a power like that, he wouldn't be able to go down the path that he wanted, which was the path of loneliness, the path of darkness. This episode really made me think about why Naruto and Sasuke are so incredibly similar and so incredibly different all at the same time. They're both technically orphans. They're incredibly lonely people who are trying to find acknowledgement and change the world. They're just doing it in a lot of different ways. Sasuke works with his loneliness by pushing other people away, by trying to change everything, working from the darkness, living in the shadows. Naruto, on the other hand, tries to gain acknowledgement from people by trying to form bonds with others, forming friendships, relationships, and there's a great visual metaphor at the very end of the episode where you have Sasuke on one side, Naruto on the other. Sasuke is continuously looking over at Naruto, and all of his friends continue to start popping up left and right until just about every major character in the series makes a cameo appearance, all standing by Naruto's side in this blinding light, which is just gorgeous, while Sasuke is stuck in the darkness with no one. It's a great visual metaphor. In fact, this entire episode is essentially just a giant metaphor for the entire series, but it's also got some really great imagery, and one of the biggest things about the episode, of course, is we get to see what damage was caused in their big final attack, and like I said, if you haven't seen the episode yet, spoiler warning. There's a pretty big thing at the end of this episode, because when Naruto and Sasuke used their signature techniques against each other this time, their attacks were so powerful that they blew their arms off. That's right, Naruto loses his right arm, Sasuke loses his left, and the visual at the end with both of them sitting next to each other and both of the blood coming from their arms forming together and coming together is just awesome. It's beautiful, not to mention when they first wake up during the sequence, it's nighttime, and at the very end of the episode, as they finally start to reconcile with each other, the sun begins to rise. There was one part of the episode that I felt was a little too cheesy and just a little too coincidental. It's something that I also said in the manga version. Both Naruto and Sasuke are sitting on the hands of those giant statues, and when they fell over and crumbled, they're actually doing the unison sign with each other. I just think the planets just aligned a little too much on that moment. That being said, it leads to what is arguably some of the most beautiful imagery from the entire series. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden? In many ways, this could have almost been the final episode of the series. Like, no epilogue needed, Naruto and Sasuke fight, they get over their differences, they're friends again, and that's pretty much it. They could have ended it right there. Hell, even the ending that they used for this episode, which was completely different from some of the other endings that we've seen from the series, made you feel that this could be the final episode. But still, there are more stories to tell, not to mention we have to go through this entire epilogue. One of the best things about this episode, though, was its use of imagery. How they used flashback sequences and incorporated the characters of Naruto and Sasuke in them. And that they didn't just reuse a lot of flashbacks, they actually reanimated a lot of things, and then they even went through this whole section where you got to see all of the major moments from Naruto's life. A lot of the ones from when he was younger and in the time skip, and they didn't actually reanimate this. They reused all of the old animation. And you know what? I love that because it reminded me of how long that I've been watching this series and how much I actually care about these characters. But it's when Sasuke finally started to cry at the end of the episode, something that he didn't even want Naruto to see, that just completely broke me down. This was such a big moment for Sasuke to acknowledge the strength of Naruto and say that he's always wanted to follow his path. And just like Itachi, Naruto was always walking in front of him. There's something really beautiful about this moment. And you can tell that Sasuke in many ways has sort of been suffering this entire time. Despite the fact that he wanted to work as a badass ninja from the shadows, he's been sort of holding it in all this time and just never really wanting to admit it out loud. And I love how even after they get over these moments, there's still a lot of room for comedy. There's a great scene where Naruto's like getting all pissed off at Sasuke at the end, telling him that he's just going to continue to beat it into his head with his ridiculous facial expressions. It does a really great job of sort of breaking up the tension during this moment. That combined with the music choices is great. I mean, the minute they decided to bring back Sadness and Sorrow for the series, I think was perfect, because for all of these moments, it's just the perfect song. It's just one of the best things about the original Naruto series, and I'm so glad to finally see it come back. That and the fact that this episode had some fantastic art direction. Really, really great scenes. All of the scenes with them when they're in Konoha Village were just absolutely gorgeous. Little moments like Naruto on the swing where you see his younger version, then you see the slightly older version, then the current version of Naruto. It's little scenes like this that made this episode great, and I'm sure it's going to be an emotional roller coaster for a lot of fans of the Naruto series. I know it certainly was for me. In my humble opinion, this was a perfect episode of Naruto Shippuden. There are going to be people who don't like this episode simply because of the flashbacks, but for the most hardcore of Naruto fans, for people who have been following the series, watching these episodes every week, this is an episode that, without a doubt, is going to at least get you misty-eyed. What more can I say? This episode was beautiful, and it was a great conclusion to one of the best battles of the entire series, and we have more from here. The only disappointment I have from this episode is that when I saw the preview for the next one, it was very obvious that the artwork and the animation is nowhere near as good. But what is interesting about it is that we're about to get some material that was never shown in the manga version. And frankly, I'm really excited to see how all of that is going to go down as we get even closer to the big finale of the series and all these extra stories that we have coming up in the year. I'm still going to review all of it. I've already said that when I'm going to start reviewing the Naruto Shippuden all those years ago, that I'm going to review every single episode that I see. Even the bad ones, even the fillers. So I'm in it for the long one. What I will say is, this was a great conclusion to the story of Naruto and Sasuke, and we get just a little bit more. So let's get excited about that. This episode was great. 5 out of 5. Check it out, Naruto fans. You will not be disappointed. You heard my thoughts about this week's episode, but I want to hear from you guys. What did you guys think about this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden? Did you get really misty-eyed during this episode? Were there any moments that actually made you cry? What did you think of the big final battle between Naruto and Sasuke and all of the damage that they suffered? And what do you want to see from the rest of Naruto Shippuden? Please tell me in the comments section below. You guys are awesome! Thank you for watching this review. I truly appreciate it. One of the best ways to support my channel is to simply leave a comment, like the video, or better yet, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby!